What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And we just got Loki episode 5, and it was amazing. And also gave us more Easter eggs for Kang the Conqueror, and that insane ending that totally reveals like so much. It gives us so much for the finale. And within this, we have to deeply explore more and who is going to be behind the TVA, maybe at the end of the series as well. So, in this video, this will be my Loki episode 5 breakdown, and of course, if you haven't seen episode 5 of Loki yet, and if you're trying to avoid any and all possible spoilers, you should probably click on it now. But if you're still here and you don't care, well, let's get into it. So Loki episode 5 starts in the alternate reality where Loki will look up from the last episode when he got pruned by the TVA. He was sent in a reality where he saw other versions of Loki. But if you notice, the camera is opening on the broken New York. We can see at the old Avengers Tower, but it does not say Avengers on it or Star Tower on it. It says Kang, and now with this Kang and Enterprises is that this is the property of the Daniel Richards, aka Kang the Conqueror, which is also in this Easter egg right here. So we can assume that Kang the Conqueror is behind all this. Then next we see Sylvie and Rudley having a conversation because Sylvie wants all the answers out of Rudley because she wants to know who is behind the TVA, either it's Kang or someone else. And then Rudley says the branch timeline isn't reset, it's transferred to avoid at the end of time. And Rudley wants Sylvie to trust her, and so that she can give Sylvie answers of who is really behind the TVA. And then Loki tells the other versions of Loki of what he's doing, and that he needs to find a way to get back into the TVA. And the kid of Loki points the sword at Loki and tells him not to wake the monster in the sky. The monster in the sky, Alliance. And now with Alliance, it's a trans-temporal entity existing across the divergent timelines as an enormous cloud destroying all of it touches, causing massive temporal disturbance and devastation across entire dimensions. And that when something touches the cloud, it makes sure that it never returns. And then as Loki and the Loki variants are going to their home, and then when Loki and the other versions of Loki are going to their home, Kid Loki mentions what his next event was, and then he said he killed Thor. And now with this is referring back to Thor Ragnarok, because Thor was saying Kid Loki killed Thor by disguising himself as a snake because he knows that Thor loves snakes, and when Thor tried to grab him, he changed back and stabbed him in his heart. And next, back at the TVA, Renslayer asked Miss Minutes to go look through the restricted files from the beginning of time. So what Miss Minutes is accessing the files, and that Renslayer is really trying to do this is because so that she can protect the big bad, which is Kang the Conqueror, from Sylvie. And that Rovarla tells Sylvie that the branch realities that TVA prunes are destroyed, that are transferred to avoid at the end of time. So that means when Loki and Mobius got pruned, that they were never dead, they were just sent over to the end of time. And what Sylvie is saying is that she's trying to get Loki by going through the void, but by saying that in the shadow of apocalypses, it obscured her from the TVA. And because she couldn't create a diverging branch. And with that, it just creates a new timeline. And that's all Sylvie wants to do is just try to go through the void, but Ren says that's committing suicide, and so Sylvie wants to do it anyway. And then they make a deal to find Loki and find the man who's behind the TVA and kill him so that they can the TVA can be taken down. And then the TVA guards come in, and then Sylvie takes Renslayer's tempad, and then she hides. And then Renslayer tells her that she wants to put her in a time loop, but instead of doing that, and then Sylvie prunes herself. And then next, Loki reveals to the other Loki variants that he's going to try to kill the monster, the shark, Alliance. And then next, when he comes out of the home, he's seriously spotted and caught by President Loki and the other Loki variants as well. And then Sylvie wakes up in the dimension, the same one that Loki's in, and then Sylvie runs out, and then she gets chased by a Goliath, and then next is Sylvie throws some green magic, and then she's inside it, and then we kind of see it kind of looks like an Eternals castle or like a Black Knight castle, and then in it might just be one of the Infinity Stones, or it could be like, and now with this castle that Sylvie is looking into, it could be Doctor Doom's castle from the Marvel Comics. Mobius saves the day by rescuing Sylvie from the monster from King Loki inside of there, then chasing her. And then a bossful Loki tells President Loki that he betrayed him and that he is king, but then President Loki wants to be king in exchange for his army and the throne, but then his army turns to weapons against him. And then, as other Loki variants are fighting President Loki's other army of variant Lokis, we can see that there is a throne or like a president's chair and an L over it. So that means that is President Loki's throne. And then after that, the rest of the Lokis, including Loki, escape. And then next Loki tells Kid Loki and Classic Loki that in order for the TVA to be stopped, like they had to change to something, or else nothing will be changed. And they also think like if they can't trust Sylvie, which Loki can trust. Then in the cars, Sylvie and Mobius apologize for each other, and Sylvie tells Mobius that like he hunted her like a dog, and she did what she had to do. And now that that Sylvie pruned herself just so that she can find Loki, and that she assumed that the storm might have already gotten him. Then next Sylvie tells Mobius that all they need to do is just to find a way to get back into TVA and figure out who's behind all this. And then as Loki, Classic Loki, and Kid Loki trying to distract the Alliance and the Void to wait for some big events to happen to distract the monster, there's a big boat coming towards them called the USS Eldridge 173, and this is known as the Philadelphia Experiment. Then they see all the crew members on board get killed by the Aboleth. The next, they spot a car coming, in which is Sylvie and Mobius, and then Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius reunited back together ever since Mobius got pruned the last time we saw him, and Loki too says he got pruned as well. And then Sylvie says that there's someone after that is guarding it, and she says it's a guard dog, and the only way to get past it is if Sylvie enchants it in order to get in and speak to the person who is behind all this, and it is behind the TVA. Then next, back at the TVA, Renslayer visits Hunter B-15, and then she knows that Hunter B-15 freed the variant, even though she knows that the timekeepers weren't real in the chambers, and that she freed the variant, and now Renslayer now tells Hunter B-15 now she has to tell Renslayer everything. And because 100 B-15 for the variant, there's also reference to the last episode where Sylvie told 100 B-15 the truth, and that the TVA is now real and they're all variants. Then Renslayer reveals that she wants to find them, and now I feel like she knows too that she wants to know who's behind all this as well. But I feel like she knows too. Renslayer knows as well. And then next we see Loki and Sylvie sitting together, and then Sylvie reveals that she had no friends, and then Loki confesses, and then Loki reveals that he's betrayed everyone who's ever loved him, including his brother Thor, his father Odin, and the rest of his family as well on Asgard. And then, as they're coming up with a plan to defeat the monster, Sylvie reveals that when she touched then, as they're trying to come up with a plan to defeat the monster, Sylvie reveals that when the monster hit her, she linked to it. And that she caught a glimpse of something, and this is probably referring to a time when she caught that dream magic in her hand. We can see it was probably a Dr. castle or something, and something inside of it. And with all that she has to do is just to enchant the monster, and they can go through and visit to someone who is behind all this. And then when Sylvie and Loki go to try to destroy the monster, like when a branch reality appears, the Loki will focus on that, in which Sylvie will enchant it. And now within this ending, Loki tries to distract the Lottie so that it can create the branch, and so that it will focus on it. And then classic Loki makes the branch for the Lottie to focus on, and that classic Loki makes the branch of Asgard. But then the Lottie classic Loki, and sadly he dies. But then Sylvie and Loki are trying to enchant the Lottie. And then the enchantment works, letting the Lottie open through, and then Loki and Sylvie walk towards a house to see who is really behind the TVA. And now we assume that this house might be Kang the Conqueror, or it could be someone else. But we'll have to wait and see. And with Loki and Sylvie visiting that castle or that house, it might be the home of Kang the Conqueror or Doctor Doom, but there is gonna be no mention of Doctor Doom in the series, but if it's gonna be like Kang the Conqueror for sure, and I bet. But by the finale, we'll get a look at Kang the Conqueror, which they are setting Kang the Conqueror up for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Media. So that is gonna be it for my Loki episode 5 breakdown. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this episode? Give me a rating between 1 out of 10. Don't forget to give this video a like, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.